Hey everybody, it's Strict9 with Strict9 GP, and welcome back to another episode of my Out of the Park 20 playthrough with the Phillies. So we're in this 2043 season and getting close to midway. I'm hoping that we can maybe get up to around the All-Star break in this episode, but I just finished the draft and fairly uneventful. I mean, we're picking low now in the first round when we're getting picks, and so I'm basically going for the best I see available. And I gotta admit, I'm kind of knowing that I'm going to be retiring after next year. I'm not too focused. I'm not going too in depth on some of the picks, but just to give you an idea, I think the number one pick was a third baseman that my scout was pretty high on, and if he does develop the way my scout thinks, I mean, this guy's going to be a really big superstar. I mean, double digits in every rating, good power and contact. Probably, considering he's only 18, his defense is probably going to be good at third as well. But my scout has him at 5-star potential. OSA, not as high, though. And so it's a case where I've got a pretty good scout. I'm willing to gamble on it and hope that he turns out okay. But that's, a lot of the other players, Leyva, again, my scout lights, but, it's hit or miss with these guys. And, it wouldn't surprise me if no one from this draft even makes the majors. It was kind of, after we got past the first couple of rounds, it was really hard to find good prospects. Catcher was something I was hoping to develop, get some guys who would have a chance anyway. This guy looked the best of any catcher, but I still have some concerns about his contact and avoiding Ks. Defense, though, looks pretty good. I mean, he might develop. He's 18, but I don't know if that's probably asking a lot to expect he's going to be a 3.5-star player even. OSA just doesn't even like him at all. So I went with my scout on most of those early picks. I usually try to get a mix. I look at who my scout favors the highest and then compare that to the OSA, and I'm kind of looking at, which players have the least difference, between OSA and my scout. But at the end of the day, I usually go with what my scout says. I think as long as he's rated pretty highly, I think he should be better, or at least no worse than what OSA predicts a guy's going to do. But other than that, I mean, we're outplaying, I think, what I expected. We're playing better than I expected. I mean, we're 33-24. We're 3 games up over New York. I think New York's still going to be the team to beat. Atlanta, surprisingly, they're 10 games under 500. They're off to a pretty rough start. We had a really good, since I left, I think I played right up through the first week of May in that last episode. We were really good in May, 19-9. Our offense, which was towards the bottom in a lot of ratings, has gotten considerably better, and our pitching has just been very strong, about as strong as it was last year. In some cases, rated to the rest of the league, it may be better. I mean, that starter's ERA is under 3. That's really good. We're first in a lot of categories on the pitching side. Individually, Zach Thompson leading the team with 6 wins. I think he's still going to have a decent year if he stays healthy. I don't know that he's going to be up there in the Cy Young contention again this year. He'll probably get some votes if he keeps it up. Don't know if he'll repeat. Other than him, Pete Parker's looking really good. And, I know I'm going to lose Pete Parker at the end of the season. He still has some value. I may try to trade this guy in the All-Star break. We'll see how it does. I know it's always risky. If I have any advice, the way I've seen it play out time and time again, if you're at a point where you're thinking about trading a guy, just trade him, because injury, especially a pitcher, injuries are really hard to predict, of course, but I can't tell you how many times I've seen where I got a guy I'm thinking of trading, and he gets injured like going into the trading deadline, and I'm unable to trade him. I had the rule set for my league settings that you can't trade injured players, or you can't trade players on the DL. So I've been burned a few times, but I'm gonna keep it going because even though I'm kind of playing for next year, we're leading the East. So I don't want to give it up just yet. Other than that, I mean, Hadakayama's come through. He's up to 15 saves. ERA really low again, 263. The pitching staff has been good, and a big shocker to me is Nate McAfee. Now in the bullpen, just a 2.5 star relief pitcher. I mean, that's a pretty low rating, although his individual ratings are pretty high. 13 appearances, 17 innings. He's yet to give up a run. He's not getting a lot of start or a lot of time. I mean, he's on pace for just like 48 innings, but a pretty high priced, seldom used bullpen guy. But I know I can't trade him, and so at least he's not hurting the team. And then on the lineup side, still struggling on the catching end of it. Although McGee is his average isn't so bad. For instance, I think his defense is probably adequate at this point. Pretty decent zone rating. All these statistics, except for maybe the caught stealing, but he's doing really good. I think handling the staff, so I'm okay with that. Paris is starting to hit, average up to 279. He struggled. He wasn't even hitting above 200 in that first month, and was really starting to worry about him. Pat Dowdy's looking good. Vega's average is down, but his production's good. Gutierrez having a good year. I mean, Bond, though, struggling a little bit. I may have to kind of lessen his time. And as a matter of fact, I'll probably do that right now. I've got George starting every 7th game. Let's move him up because George at times has looked pretty good against when he's gotten a chance to start. So if he develops any, I mean, he may be potentially a starting outfielder somewhere next year. But that's how it's looking on the team. We'll take a look at the standings, and then we'll move on and sim ahead here. A big trade happened, maybe a couple weeks ago. I don't remember when, but Jeremy Dull, guy who's been with Texas the last few years, hit over 400 a few years ago. First time I've seen that in this playthrough. It's been a while since I've seen it in any playthrough, really. He was traded to Cincinnati. I don't know if that happened. Well, I think it just happened. It looks like he's not even gotten any playtime yet. Let me see where the news showed that trade. Yeah, they just happened. I don't know what Cincinnati's going to be able to do with this guy in their outfield because his defensive ratings are so low. But it looks like they're wanting to make a run for the playoffs this year. That was a big trade. He's a 20+ million guy already. He's going to be a free agent at the end of the season. So it's going to be interesting to see how he looks in the National League. But in terms of teams, how they're doing, New York and Toronto got a pretty good battle going on in the East. Kansas City and Cleveland the same. They're tied, and Chicago just a half game back. Chicago has, unless he's injured, no, they still have Josh Gordon, former Philly, who's having another good productive year. Average is down, but on pace for 48 home runs. He is injured, though, for a day-to-day for a week. So he's getting close to 2,000 hits for his career, getting close to 500 home runs. So this guy might make a run at the Hall of Fame. And then rest of the league, so we got us and the Mets. In the East, Chicago over Milwaukee. Chicago has always looked good in this playthrough. I mean, I think they're probably one of the more successful teams overall in the 20+ years I've had with this playthrough. And then Colorado and Arizona. Arizona, another team's been successful. Pretty good race there in the West. And Not many on the leaderboards for us, although we have Eric George had a pretty big hitting streak going 15 games. Gutierrez on the stolen base leaderboard. Pat Dowdy hitting 335, leading there. He's having a pretty solid year. Hit his 200th home run recently. But let's go ahead and move ahead so I can try to get through some games here and hopefully get to that All-Star break. All-Star voting, I'll take a brief look at that. Let's see if we got any Phillies. Pat Dowdy leading at second pretty comfortably early in the voting. Then we got Gutierrez leading at shortstop. We got Jared Davis and Joe Clark getting votes in the bullpen for relievers, and then Thompson getting some votes. So last year we had quite a few make the All-Star team. We may do it again this year. But we're playing the Dodgers on the road. They've been pretty tough. We finally get a win against them, 5-1. Pritchard, a good game. He is still struggling. I think this is another guy who he's probably coming up for arbitration next year. He may not be a full-time starter. Even though he had 2 good years for me, especially last year, I don't know what to make of this guy. Then pitching-wise, Gramajo, his best game of the year, 8 1/3 inning, just 1 run, 4th win. I didn't mention him too much, but that's a pretty solid rookie year so far. This first ever time in the majors, on pace for 11 wins. So now we'll look at players of the week. Went to Sean Roberts in Tampa in the American League. Josh Ladd, man, he's hitting 352, off to a good start for St. Louis. And then we've got the power rankings were 6th. We are the top team in the National League East. Standings, we are 3 games up still, but we've just been playing 500 lately, so not really tearing it up, honestly. Check the waiver wire, some pretty decent relievers if you need them. And now we'll go on the road against Arizona. This is going to be a tough series. Game 1, we win 6-5. And looks like there was an injury there, but I don't see it. Heredia. I'm going to put him on the DL. So 6-5. Bond's still struggling there a little bit. Hitless again. Paris, 2 hits, 2 RBIs. Vega, 2 RBIs. And then George, a pinch hit home run, looks like. And Ken Dion did not get the win. He's been up and down. 5 innings, 4 runs, not great. But Hadakiyama, 16th save from him. So game 2 against Arizona, we lose 3-6. Paris, though, 2 for 3. He's still hitting really well. Thompson, his worst outing of the year. 3 innings, 5 earned runs. McAfee, another scoreless inning from him. And then game 3, let's see if we can win this series. And we do, 4-1. So that's 2 of 3 from Arizona on the road. That's a good sign. George, 2 for 5 in this one. Man, he's really starting to be consistently good, I think. Pat Dowdy, 2 for 4. Vega, 2 for 3. And then Parker, 6th win from him. Hadakiyama's 17th save. So Parker, with that low ERA, he's having another, top 10, top 5 Cy Young contenders anyway season. On pace for 16 wins, low ERA. He would really be beneficial if we're going to make the playoffs and make a run. So I need to feel a little bit more confident, I guess, about how we're looking in the All-Star break. But now we got a 3-game series against Cincinnati. I'm going to take a look at the news. There's a lot come through here. So we got some guys agreed to sign. So it looks like for us, we've only probably got one more guy to negotiate. He was my 2nd-round pick. So game 1 against Cincinnati, 12-3, big win. Bond, a good game, 2 for 3, scored 3 runs. Warlick, a good game here. He is healthy right now. Not playing as good as I'd like to see him, but may just take a while for him to get back in a rhythm. George, another good game, 2 for 3. Barbarossa picks up his 4th win, 7 strong innings, 10 Ks. Game 2 against Cincinnati, 4-8. That's not good. Gutierrez, rated ball. Cowell, Warlick, multiple hits in the game. Ken Dion, another so-so outing from him. Hadakiyama gave up a run, too, in relief. Joe Clark, I mean, those guys have been solid. Davis blew the save. So game 3, can we at least win the series against Cincinnati? We don't. We lose 6-1. Paris, another decent game, but that's about it. Gramajo really shelled in this one. I'd say his worst outing that I've seen. 6 runs in 2 1/3. McAfee, though, still that scoreless streak going from him. So news of the week, we got the All-Star voting. Dowdy, Gutierrez losing ground to Navarro now for a shortstop, but we still have Thompson, Clark, Jared Davis getting votes on the pitching side. So Braves and Marlins, a trade within the division, a pretty decent looking reliever going from Atlanta to Miami. I wouldn't have thought Miami would have a better season than Atlanta, but that's what's going on. Players of the week, Josh Atkins, 36-year-old guy. He's a former MVP, having a good year at New York. Might contend for another MVP. He's had a good career. National League, Joe High from Arizona. Juan Romero, this is going to be a former Philly, looks like. He's this guy's with Colorado now. I let him go last offseason. Never could make it to the majors, but he's always been a great minor league performer, and just couldn't find a spot for him really in the majors. A career 296 average though in the minors, pretty good. And the Cubs lose their former closer, looks like, and power rankings, we're down a little bit to 8th, but we did move 5 games up over New York. They're struggling. So transactions, waiver wire, still just relievers showing up. That's about all I'm seeing. So now we're going to have a 3-game series against Colorado at home. We win the first one 4-3. Joe Clark is injured, but it's minimal, and I'm going to just leave him out there. Hopefully we'll have a good weekend. He's not used a whole lot. In terms of the game, rated ball got the start, was 3 for 4. Warlick 2 for 4. Thompson, great in this one. 7 innings, no runs, 9 Ks. Hadakiyama, 18th save. So Thompson, still solid. Now game 2 should be Parker going today. We win in extra innings, 5-4. Took 16 innings though. Gutierrez, 2 for 7. Warlick, 3 for 7 with 2 RBIs. Quartang, who has been terrible. I hate to say it, but he's been really terrible. He was 2 for 4 though in this game. Scored 2, drove in 3. Pitching, Parker looked good. 5 1/3, 1 run, 7 Ks. But McAfee finally gave up some runs. Gave up 3 in 2/3 of an inning. But that was it. The bullpen came through, and even though Clark's injured, he pitched a scoreless inning. Davis picks up the win in relief. So let's see if we can sweep Colorado, and we don't. Lose 6-10. That was probably Barbarossa starter in this one, but Vega had 4 RBIs. He's on pace for right around 100 for the year. Dowdy 2 for 4. George hitless in the game, got the start. But Barbarossa 6 innings, 5 earned runs. McAfee 5 earned runs in 1 1/3. So that's where it's going to be problematic. If he keeps doing that, I have really no other choice but to eat his contract. No way I'm going to be able to trade this guy. The only thing I would probably be seeing, if I see anything, is going to be salary dumps for some pretty mediocre players, and that's what it comes up to. I mean, just 2 guys that I would not even consider. So we'll see how he goes through the rest of this month, but he may be on the way out. Doug Barbarossa wanting an extension. See what he would go for right now. $8.5 million. Not bad, but I don't, even as consistent as this guy's been, I don't see him keeping this up. maybe I'll relook at this at the end of the year and see what he's going to look like. Josh Ladd, big injury for St. Louis. This guy was having a great season. Now he's out for 6 weeks. So we're going to be on the road against New York. I'm assuming this is the Mets. Wow, Charlie Warren gone for 14 months. He's kind of a lower draft pick there. So the Mets are they've won 2 in a row maybe, or they're 36 and 34. This is going to be tough. Then we got at Atlanta after this one. Game 1 we win 8-5. We're now up 5.5 on them. That was a good win. Cal got the start at first and was good in this one, 2 for 4, 2 RBIs. He's looked really good off the bench. And then Ken Dion got the win, 6 innings, 3 earned runs. Hadakayama, 19th save. All right, so game 2, we should probably have, I'm assuming the rookie going here, Gramajo. And it's a 1-0 shutout. 1-0. I hope Gramajo is able to get the win here. Not much in terms of offense, just 3 hits in the game. But Gramajo, 7 1/3, no earned runs. Good game from him, and he's on pace now for 12 wins. So I'm really happy to see that. Now game 3, we're up 6.5 games. Miami has jumped ahead of New York. Can we sweep them? And we do, 10-7. In extra innings. What a game. Pritchard 3 for 6, and really what a series. Atchison not doing too bad off the bench, 262 average. Cal, a big home run looks like off the bench. Unfortunately, Zach Thompson didn't get the decision here. 5 innings, 2 runs. Hadakayama blew the save too. Pitching wise, not as solid, but it's a win. I'll take it. I'm going to look at the news, and then we've got an injury to deal with. And it looks like Steve Bond's going to be out for 3 weeks. He is struggling, I have to say. So I'm going to put him on the injured list, and then I'll see what I've got to call up here. Atlanta, man, they are 28 and 43. Did not expect that. So players of the week, Sean Roberts for Tampa Bay, Jeremy Dull. So this is how he's doing in the National League. 12 games in, hitting 388. I've never seen a guy hit this consistently high for this long. I mean, if he in 2038 he hit 329. I mean, that I've seen that before. But look at this: 344, 401, 362. I mean, this is Ted Williams type batting averages we're seeing here. Career 353. That's amazing. And weekly ratings, we moved all the way up to first. So we are playing 600 ball. We're 7 games up over Miami. I'm going to take a look at the standings just to see what everybody else is doing. Looks like the Yankees are getting a big lead going over Toronto. Kansas City, same, 3 games up now over Chicago. Whitney Woodruff for Toronto, on pace for 55 home runs. A couple guys here with 11 wins in the American League. That's pretty high. I mean, that's a 25 win pace at this point. But, for us, we're winning as a team. No players showing up on the leaderboard at this point. But if you look at our team stats, we've improved a little bit, it looks like, in a few categories offensively. Doing still pretty good in pitching, but I think we've lost a few ratings there. But we're 11-7 in June so far, pretty good. But what am I going to do with the outfield situation? Again, I'm not in a position right now to make any free agent pickups or any big trades. I think George is definitely going to get the start at center. But in terms of who I'm going to bring up, Villalobos, every time he comes up, he just doesn't do anything. I think I'm going to go with Benefield. Is there anybody even in AA? No. And then that's going to make George the starter. And Benefield, I'm probably going to see what he can do in terms of Oh, did I mess it up? So against righties, it's going to be George, and then Benefield. Against righties, I'll let him be the top pinch hitter there. But what I'm going to do is he's going to back up at center, but then I think I'm going to go with Atchison in left and right, and then I'll put Benefield out here just in case. Gosh. And then, oh my gosh, I keep doing that, I'm sorry. So he's wanting, there we go. And then against lefties, Atchison is rated a little bit better against lefties. His splits, he's hitting 286. George is not rated as well against lefties. He's hitting 273 in limited time. I think I'll go with Atchison, but I'm going to have George backing him up and say every fifth game just to see how it goes so far. And then that means Benefield's going to be out here in case I need him. And Benefield is fast, so he'll be able to come off the bench as a pinch runner. Now, one last thing. So George is going to be center, Benefield backing up, and then Atchison will come in here. And I probably won't play Atchison as much. And then Benefield out here. And let Benefield run for George, and I guess, geez, bad for George. And then last thing, Atchison's going to get the start against lefties when we're DHing. George is going to be backing up here. All right. I know this takes a long time to do, the way I do it anyway. There's probably a better way to do it, but there we go. Oh, I guess George is going to bat here. All right, so let's go. Let's see what we can do against Atlanta on the road. Game 1, 4-3, pretty good win. It's a 4-game series too. Then we got Miami. This is a tough week for us in the East, but if we come out of this okay, we're going to be in good shape, I think. All right, so multiple hits from Warlick, Dowdy, George, Parker, 7th win, just 2 runs in 7 innings. We do have a trade proposal just came through from Minnesota, an aging pitcher for some decent prospects. No to that. Now game 2 against Atlanta, 1-0. Pat Dowdy 3 for 4, scored the only run on a home run, so he was the offense in this game. Barbarossa really strong, probably his best game of the year. 7 1/3, 12 strikeouts, good game from him. So game 3, if we win this, we win the series. We do 3-2. I hope this was Parker got the win here. It's George a hit, Gutierrez 3 for 3, and no, Dion was pitching in this one. Got his 6th win. So we got, if I'm counting this up right, I think every starting pitcher is on pace for double digits in wins, and that's usually with a 5-man rotation. That's a good sign. Now game 4 against Atlanta, we lose 1-0, a tough one, 13 innings. We did have a good game from Radeball, 4 for 5, but that was about it. George Atchison 2 hits, but Gramajo, another solid game from him. 8 1/3, no runs. But we just couldn't hold on and get the win. That's a shame. All right, so take a look at the news. So we won 3 or 4 from Atlanta on the road. That's pretty good. Juan Romero again, having a great minor league season. He may get some time in the majors. I don't know how. I think he's with Colorado. I think that's who he's with. So he might get some time there. So the Marlins slipped a little bit. They're 2 games below 500, 9 back of us. So 3 games to go at home. We win the first one 4-3 though. Took 14 innings to do it. George 2 for 7, Warlick 2 for 6, but Thompson just couldn't hang in there, of course, to get the win. 3 runs in 8 1/3, 10 strikeouts. So he's been kind of a tough luck guy here. But how about Dean? 2 innings, no runs, no hits, and he gets the win. He's after a slow start, he's starting to turn it around. Same with McAfee, another outing, good outing from him. 3 innings, no runs. Game 2 against Miami, 6-1. And Luis Romero out for 3 weeks. He's got some upside. I'm starting to get it pretty stacked though at third base in the minors. All right, so George 3 for 4, looking good since he's taken over for Bond. Paris, McGee, some pretty good games in this one. Then Parker, 8th win, just 1 run in 5 innings. Now he's on pace for 17 wins, which would be the highest total he's had since we signed him, if he keeps that up. Game 3 against Miami, can we sweep? We do, 4-3, another extra innings win there for us. George 2 for 4, hitting 293 now. Is this guy going to be the starter next year? I don't know. Looking good though. Doughty 2 for 5. Barbarossa did not get the win. 3 runs in 5 innings. Win went to Hadakayama. He's even on pace for double digits in wins. So now we'll look at the news. In terms of the voting, Pat Doughty still leading, but barely at second. Shortstop's going to be a pretty close race. Gutierrez slips some there, though. And that's it offensively. But pitching, Zach Thompson, Davis Clark still getting votes. And now let's see if there's any big news. American League Player of the Week, Jim Presley at Seattle. Arturo Padilla for Washington. And power rankings, we are number 1 again. So we've won 9 of 10 and really moving well ahead of New York. We're 8 games above them. We got the best record in the National League, second best record in baseball. This is a shocker. This really is a shocker. So I wanted to get to the All-Star game. That's probably not going to happen. We got 2 more weeks for that. But let's see if we can get through this Washington series, 4 games, starting with a doubleheader at home. And we win them both. Holy cow. So we win the first one 4-3 in extra innings. Doughty, a good game. Paris, 2 for 5, scored a couple. And then pitching, Dion, 10 strikeouts in 6 innings, but he couldn't get the win. McAfee, another scoreless inning from him. And then game 2, we won 5-1. Vegas drove in 4. Gramajo got his 6th win of the season. So that's giving him a 12-win pace. Unbelievable. Now, mid-season review of goals, the owner's got to be ecstatic at this point. We're in a decent position for the postseason. He's glad I got Steve Bond back, even though he's injured now. He's still wanting an MVP-type player, and that's probably not going to happen. And he's starting to be stingy. He's wanting the payroll down. That's concerning because I can't. My plan is all based around having money in the off season to spend. So if he doesn't give us the money, we're going to be in trouble for next season. But let's finish out the series here. Washington, 2 more games at home. and we win 9-6. Good offensive performance from a lot of guys. Gutierrez, Pritchard, Warlick, multiple hits in the game. Benefield struggling since I've called him up. Thompson cannot get a win now, so his pace is down to 14 wins. Hadakayama, though, 22 saves. He's looking really strong right now. McAvee got the win even though he blew the save. And then, so how many? This was a 5 games against Washington because we had a doubleheader makeup game. So game 4, we lose 2-6. So that was probably our first loss in a while. We're 10.5 up over New York right now. Parker, great outing from him, but bullpen blew it in several places there, which is uncharacteristic really of the bullpen. But we'll get this last game. We've won the series. Let's see if we can win 4 of 5, and we do 3-1. Another good pitching performance. Warlick, Paris, a couple hits. Radeball, a couple hits, and Barbarossa, 6 shutout innings. He's making a case for an extension here. I don't know if I'm ready to go long term, but once again, the guy's winning, and he's, he is up to 73 wins for us in 6 seasons. I mean, I'm really happy with that kind of a performance, and he's wanting a long-term contract from a guy who usually goes 3, 4, 5 in the rotation, so that's pretty good. Take a look at the news, and then probably end this season or this series. In this episode, sorry. So, batters in the month, Sean Richardson in the American League, Joe High in the National League. Pitchers went to Walt Guardado, man, he is having a good season at Houston. And then Resendez for St. Louis. Rookies of the league, pretty weak on that end. We're up to the international free agents. I don't think I will do much here because it would have to be a sure bet, and I don't want to spend multiple millions of dollars right now on a international free agent. We got a trade proposal. They're wanting Andy Buck, and I kind of figured this guy would get some notice. I talked about him early in the last episode. He's a guy who generated as a fictional player, 3-star pitcher, starting pitcher with really good ratings all across the board. But they're wanting to give me a minor league guy here who's got some upside, but not enough. I think I may take a look at trading Andy Buck or shopping him around. Might get some good outfield depth. That would be helpful, but we'll see. All right, so we're in a good spot. Unexpectedly, really. 22 games above 500. We are tied with the Yankees for the best record in baseball. I did not see this coming. So I'm going to go for it now. I mean, I don't think you have any other option with this kind of a start. I mean, barring just a major collapse and big injuries, we got a chance at winning our 5th National League East division in a row, if nothing else, but still contending for that World Series. That would definitely be nice. But I'll leave it here. I'll go through like I usually do. I'll get back to sometime in September to where we got maybe 20 games, and then we'll finish out the season and see how it goes. But we'll do that next episode. And as always, thanks for watching. I hope you're enjoying it, and I will see you next episode.